Ciao guys, welcome back to my channel. I finally decided to quit consulting, and you might ask yourself, so what? Well, it was not an easy decision at all. So in today's video I'm gonna go through the list of questions that I asked myself to help me understand if quitting my job was actually the right thing to do. If you're new to the channel, I am Lore and I am a data analyst based in London. For the past 2.5 years, I've been working for a big consulting in London, but I will give you much more context as we go through the main part of the video. Before we start, I just want to clarify that I am not encouraging anyone to quit their job. I just want to share a framework that might be helpful for you if you want to self-reflect on your current work situation and basically understand if you should stay where you are or not. I will go through the framework using my life experience, and my goal is for you to use the same template, edit it, basically making it yours in order for you to make your life easier before taking such big decisions. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So first thing to consider, is quitting a reversible decision? Can you go back? This is an aspect that is applicable to all types of decision, because basically there are two types of decisions. The first type is irreversible decisions or one-way door, meaning that if you walk through and you don't like what you see on the other side, well, you can't really go back where you were before. But most decisions are not like that. And if you made a suboptimal two-way door decision, then you don't have to live with the consequences for that long. You can actually reopen the door and walk back through. And in my case, quitting consulting is definitely a reversible decision, meaning that if I ever feel like that was not the right thing to do, then I can definitely reach out to my manager or my network within the company and basically ask all the steps that are available for me to rejoin the team. Super important here is to leave your company on a good note, and that will definitely make your life easier in case you might want to go back. And if that doesn't work, I still have the option to reapply to similar companies, other consulting firms. And actually this can become even your advantage in the interviewing process, because you might explain that you try different things and then you finally realize that consulting is actually the right path for you. So I would say a very good way to demonstrate your extra motivation to get the job. Second point in the framework, are you in control over your career? A key point that you should consider is whether you have control over your career within your company, or if that authority is only held by the company itself or your manager. And let me explain here. Working in consulting usually means jumping from one project to the other. And when you're done with your project, managers will reach out to you, telling you that there is an amazing opportunity with a new client, maybe a new team, and also maybe in a new location. And don't get me wrong, this can be actually the best project ever. But what if it's not? That means that you will probably get stuck for maybe 3, 6 or 12 months in a project that maybe you don't like. And at that point, you probably don't have a lot of chance to move to something else, because maybe the client has already a contract signed off with your name on it. And that is why I recently felt more and more that my skill set, my experience and my overall career is actually managed by blind decisions made by more senior people in my company. Am I happy with that? Absolutely not. So why I haven't said anything so far? Well, I actually think that jumping from one project to the other and having the chance to experience different things is actually pretty good when you are at the start of your career. And that is why I actually think that consulting is a great place to start. But then that doesn't become as good as you move forward in your career and you actually become a bit more clear with what you want to do. Another point of the framework, how do you react when people ask about your job? I don't know if you ever paid attention on the reaction of the other person when you ask them about their job, but I feel I immediately see if there is kind of positive energy and excitement in the answer of the other person, or if actually the reply is more kind of depressed and sad. And I'm sure you can actually sense the same. So why don't we do the same exercise applied to ourselves? And if I try to recall the last time that someone asked me what I do, I remember that I try to be as concise as possible and just try to move the conversation on a different topic pretty much straight away. Coincidence? Maybe not. Fourth aspect of the framework, do you enjoy what you do? Well, this has been a key aspect from the time I discovered that within consulting, we tend to do more strategic work rather than implementation. So basically telling the client what framework to use, what workflow to follow based on past projects that the consulting firm has completed with other clients in the past. And also a lot of times projects may last for years and years, maybe even 5 years. And so it is very likely that you would be part of a phase or one specific stage of that project, and you will never see or understand truly the full picture of what you're doing. And maybe you will not even see the final result. Other question within the framework: do you feel valued? When someone recognizes that our personal skills or something that we have done has helped the organization, we feel valued. So can you feel that in your workplace? I think this is a difficult one, but let me tell you my answer. Well, without being that humble, I would say that overall, in most of the projects and team I work with, I receive good feedbacks from my manager or from the clients. But at the same time, when the project is over and you start a new one with a new manager, a new team, a new client, then it's basically like starting everything from scratch, changing my whole team and the whole scope of what I'm doing. Well, I completely lost the sense of belonging that I created in the previous team. And I guess this is normal in big corporations. But at the same time, if people don't know who you are, it may be because the work you're doing doesn't directly affect them. And this made me feel a bit undervalued. Sixth question in the list: do you want your boss's job? Well, this is more a question that makes you think about mid or long-term plan for your career and basically what that will look like in 5 to 10 years. And this for me is a key aspect to consider, because what is the point to work towards a goal that you actually don't want? Well, in consulting, usually the more senior you are, and the more your role is focused on the sales aspect of a project, meaning that your performance is more based on the amount of work that you can get from clients and eventually the amount of revenue that you can bring into the firm. And this means that managers, senior managers, and directors will progressively spend much more time creating and delivering pitches to the client, trying to convince them that we are better than the competitors, with all the fluff that comes with it. So because I like more hands-on and practical work, I soon realized that actually becoming more a salesperson is not something that I look forward to. So I guess my tip here for you is to truly understand what your manager or boss does on a daily basis, and if it is actually not appealing to you, well, maybe you might be in the wrong place. Seventh point in the framework: what is your CV telling you? Now, something else that might help you to understand if you should quit your job or actually stay where you are. Simply look at your CV. Do you see 10 different company names in the past 5 years? Or do you actually have only one name there? And how about your role? Do you have the same role name as 3 years ago? Or did you get promoted multiple times? So consulting tends to be very standardized in the different roles and promotions. So in my company, you should expect a promotion within 2 years. And because I was a experienced hire, I got promoted after 1 year from consultant to senior consultant. And I already knew that after 2 years, I was supposed to become manager. And I also knew that given my experience, I could have that managerial role in a different company without having to wait 2 full years in my current one. So just have a look at your CV and just consider that obviously moving companies every 6 to 12 months will probably make you lose a bit of credibility whenever you start a new interviewing process with a different company. And at the same time, having the same role and responsibilities after 2 years in your company might be an indicator that you're not really progressing in your career. And maybe an extra tip here: try to visualize a new company name, even a logo of a firm, or just a role name in your CV, and try to see how that feels like. Last but not least, how about money? At the very heart of work, there is an exchange. The employer money for the employee's time and skills. And let's be realistic, who doesn't want a big ass figure in their paycheck? And now let's be also more realistic and consider if, apart from compliments and nice words from your managers, you're actually getting a fair salary. So you might want to see what's the average salary in a competitor or in a similar company where you are at the moment. But actually what I've done is just trying to understand, what if I do exactly the same job with the same responsibilities in a completely different company? So what if I'm a data analyst in maybe a tech company, or maybe even in a startup, or as a freelancer? Well, my answer was actually very simple in this case, especially with the job market being super hot at the moment, and actually with a huge demand of specialists within the data analytics and data science space. So long story short, I could get definitely much more elsewhere. But so what? So these are the questions that I asked myself to basically consider if quitting my job and quitting consulting was the right thing to do. So if you're going through the same type of decision, if you're thinking about quitting your job, or maybe you're just self-reflecting on your career, feel free to download the Notion template that I will put in the video description down below. And feel free to edit it, share it, use it, and all of that. If you think that something that we cover today can be helpful to you or maybe a friend or family, make sure to share it, put a like, comment, and subscribe, because this will definitely help the channel. Well, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Ciao for now, and see you in the next one.